Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Bergman. I am on the Hincy team, and I'm here to welcome you to the Polishing Diamond Challenge and kind of give you a little boost. I know I've heard a few people say that with this great big stretch goal that they have, that is create a little bit of anxiety and maybe a little bit of fear, a little bit of frustration. And so I want to talk through that a little bit. If you're feeling like you're a little bit overwhelmed or you're afraid of disappointing people on your team who may be just go-getters and have no trouble at all with this, then just sit back and let's talk through this a little bit. I'd like to start a little first by talking about our brains. They're pretty amazing instruments, and they can serve us really well as long as we program them correctly. So we're going to talk a little bit about that programming that takes place. If you think about your brain as a great big giant filter, it might lend a little bit of perspective on this. So your brain can only take in about 1 of every 100 stimuli that you see. And so it has to make decisions about what is the most important thing for you to process, or you would be really in big trouble. We've got to be able to focus in order to function. So it takes the information, the programming that we give it, filters the necessary information in, and leaves everything else out. Now that can be a really great advantage for us unless our filter systems are a little bit off. And fear is one of the best ways to kick out that filter system and prevent the opportunity that you seek from coming your way. So let's talk about fear a little bit. What kinds of feelings do you get when you feel fear? I know that feeling is no stranger to any of us. I don't know of one person on this earth who has not at least one time felt fear. So myself included. We've all had plenty of opportunity to work through it. But what feelings come up when we feel fear? Maybe discouragement, disappointment, feeling like a loser. That's not a good feeling, right? Feeling discouraged, worried, overwhelmed, uptight, stressed. All of those can be associated with fear, and you can probably mention a lot more pretty readily because, you know, can be a friend for us, right? So what do we do when these feelings come up? Let me talk a little bit about, or maybe use an analogy of us being out on a ship. And here we are with all of these waves coming up against us, the wave of discouragement and discontentment and worry and being upset about things and worried about the future and fear of loss. That's a big one, right? Fear of disappointing other people. All of those waves are coming up and toppling us, and we just think, I just want to get out of this ocean, get me out of here. That's our immediate flight or fright response. So what can we do instead? I have a friend who is a Navy captain. He's retired now, but of course he had plenty of experiences being out and being bombarded by waves on every side. And he said the one thing that he always knew to do was to steer right into the biggest wave with full force ahead. So he would steer into that wave, and the waves would no longer have the capacity to tip him over. If he were to stay and to try to just avoid the waves, that was when he would get into trouble. So steering full power, full force ahead right through that fear is probably the best thing we can do. If you think about fear, what does it really mean? Fear is an acronym for false expectations appearing real. So they're not even real. They're just imagined in our mind, and they're created based on lots of life experiences that we've had. So whenever we set a stretch goal, that sets that off and says, wait a minute, this isn't going according to my experience. Fear, 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 fear. And that's what we get, right? So what can we do to kind of switch over to another category? Let's think about fear as being on one side of a pendulum or a balance scale, and faith being on the other side. And so what we want to do is we want to look at the advantages of fear, or the disadvantages, but why do we stay there, right? And what are the advantages of faith? So fear, what does that do for us? Well, we're comfortable, right? We're always comfortable where we are. It's easier to be where we are than to venture out into the unknown. So that's one thing that we get by being fearful. It keeps us in our comfort zone. And that's what we want to do. We think we're going to die, right? If we move out of our comfort zone. On the other hand, what happens if we move over into the faith side? So we can have fear of loss, or we can have desire for gain. right? It's always a choice. So what do we have to lose by participating in the Diamond Club, if we're talking in strictly those terms? What do we have to lose by trying? Okay, the worst thing that could happen is that we could be no better off than we are right now, right? Or no worse off. So that's the worst thing. You're going to be no worse off. You may have people on your team who don't win, and they may be sad that they don't win. But that's the very worst thing that can happen, right? And if, of course, if we're living our lives to please other people, then we're living in fear. We're not really living to our full potential. On the other side, let's look at the desire for gain, or the faith-based side. What kinds of feelings do we generate when we think about faith, when we think about desire for gain? All of a sudden, we're thinking about what we can get, what we can become, what we can attract to us, right? Gratitude, joy, contentment, peace, positivity, optimism, abundance. All of those kinds of thoughts happen on the desire for gain side. That's what you're trading off. You're trading off staying where you are and possibly being pummeled over by those waves, to having a chance to improve and to grow and to burst through that wave into exciting new territory. And you get to exchange the feelings of fear and anxiety with the feelings of optimism and comfort and joy and enthusiasm. So this is why we have given you this stretch goal of 18 enrollments. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, I've never done that much in a month. And maybe some of you have. It's not as fearful, right? If you know you've done it before, it's easier to believe that you can do it now. But it's those kind of challenges that help you move from the fear of loss to the desire of gain. If you have a challenge to get one enrollment, is that really enough to get you and to help you move? Okay, I just lost the connection, but I'm back. Okay, is that enough to get you excited and get you moving? You know, maybe one enrollment could do a lot, right? You might get a leader out of that enrollment, and then you can go in amazing directions. Now, 18 enrollments, that is enough to really stimulate your senses and really get you thinking about what you can achieve. And we're giving you a goal that is super achievable. You can do this. I know you can. And because we've seen it done before, I would submit to you that that is actually a pretty low goal. You can go higher than that. It's all up to you and the filtering systems, the opportunities that you're looking for. So, fear of loss, stay where you are, desire for gain, improve and grow. And even if you get just one enrollment, as I said, that's better than what you had before, right? That's still growth, and that's still moving in the right direction. And isn't that the name of the game? Isn't that what we all want to do, is move in the right direction? Okay, so you still might be sitting here saying, I'm still overwhelmed. I'm happy to, I get it, I want to be positive and all those things, but I don't know how to do these things. Well, I really like what Callie said a couple of days ago. She posted it on our Facebook group. She said that she had a big task ahead of her to move. She was pregnant and she was trying to move her family across country with very little help. And she knew what the ultimate goal was, that she needed 60 boxes to be packed within a month. So she did the math. She divided that month up into smaller chunks and added it up. 2 boxes a day was going to get her 60 boxes by the end of the month. So that by the end of the month, as she steadily did what she needed to do each day and made up for any days that she might have missed, she had her 60 boxes, and it wasn't nearly as stressful as an experience as it would have been. So let me submit to you, the very best way to anchor or to direct your boat into that wave is by thrusting ahead and taking action. That thrust and that action through the wave is so necessary to get through the fear. So what action can you do today? What is the one thing that you can do today such that everything else is made easier? What can you do now to get people to attend your classes that you have scheduled this week? What can you do now to communicate with people and to reach out? Because really that's the name of the game, right? The most important thing you can do is find people. So go where the people are. And how many people will you need to touch on a daily basis so that you can get them to your classes at the end of this week? Well, if we have 18 enrollments that that you're trying to project for yourself, how many is that in a 2-week period of time? That's 9, right? So you break that in half again, and that gives you 4 or 5 enrollments that you get to aim toward each week to be successful in getting your 18 enrollment goal. So how many people will that be for you to reach that goal this week? How many people a day? Maybe 4, maybe 6. It's going to be a little bit higher than the daily routine that we've been offered by doTERRA, which is 2 a day. I think you can do at least 4 a day and maybe a little bit more. So if you reach out to 4 people and you mentor people who are already on your team, who are reaching out for you, then you can reach that goal. Can you do that? And is there something I'm forgetting? Maybe there's something else that's really critical to you for your business that will help you do the very thing that is most important. When you do inspired action and in a successful way, that adds up to success. Success plus success does not equal failure. Success plus success, by definition, equals success. So when you're doing daily inspired action and you're doing it in a successful way, then you are going to have successful results. And as you do those things, as you take that action, you're moving right through that fear wave into the action-based, goal-based success wave. And you're recreating those filters to look for opportunity and look for success and see that in your life where you may not have seen that before. So I know you can do this. I know it's a challenge. I know it's a stretch goal. And we all need those to keep us moving forward and to blowing past some of our old belief systems that limit us to be where we are. Because that is the name of the game, is personal growth and development, is it not? So I want to encourage you to let go of the fear of loss and grab onto that desire for gain and really go for it. Keep on keeping on. Thank you.